Welcome back, lifelong learners. So today, your boy Mr. Heng is going to talk about the Olympus 12-200 and how it is 98% perfect for travel. All right, so if you watched my last video, I went on a long vacation. For this lens, I rented to go to Yellowstone, Grand Teton, and Crater Lake. So what I did was I just thought, hey, this has got to be the perfect travel lens because there are a few things that I look at. The first thing I looked at was to see if it's weather sealed, and the answer is yes, it is weather sealed. I was at Crater Lake walking around in the rain with my mom, my aunties, and my mother-in-law and my wife, and this thing performed. I mean, it kept up with me, and that is always the first thing that I look at personally for when I'm considering a lens. Is it weather sealed? And this thing, yes. Also, I wanted to know if this thing was parfocal, and a couple of people asked me about that as well in the Facebook comments and the YouTube comments. So yes, the answer is this thing is parfocal. So I'm gonna let you watch a few video clips of me testing parfocal.
Okay guys, listen. I'm telling you right now, there is enough suckers in this. Well, those are all being guided right now.
So you let me know what you think in the comments down below to see if it's good, because what I did was I set it to manual, and then the next thing I did was I got my aperture to 6.3 the whole way through, so that way there's no changing of aperture. I think it's great. Let me know what you think. Now if you're setting it to a 6.3 aperture, you know that you're not going to get much bokeh out of this. Sorry, my dog's walking around. You know that you're not going to get much bokeh out of this depending on how far your background is from your subject. Even though this thing might not get a lot of bokeh, if you know what you're doing, you can actually get some nice bokeh. So if you look at this bird footage right here, like I was using the focal distance and focal length to get this nice background blur. So you tell me, like, is it good? Is it not good? Is this the kind of bokeh that you want at 6.3 at the long end? So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And the other thing that has to do with focus is that it is not good for fly-by-wire work. I don't really recommend it, but it works, but it could be annoying for some of us. I would really prefer the clutch, just like this one right here. The clutch for the 12-100. This thing is amazing for manual focus work. Also, the other thing about the 6.3 aperture is that when you're in low light situation, and let's say you're indoors or whatever, it's not going to be the best. I tried it already. The ISO is going to go all the way up. Nothing can stop me. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that 6.3 aperture could be detrimental in low light situations. But if you know what you're doing and the subject's not moving, you can slow down your shutter speed so much to bring down your ISO as well. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is the zoom range. And the zoom range is great. It is wide enough for me to vlog and do landscape work with. And then on the far end, it's also really, really, really good because I can, get wildlife and so on and so forth. And I can be just like kind of a fly on the wall when I'm in open space, and I can do street photography. If you want to do street photography with this, you can just let people do their thing and you do people watch or watch wildlife or whatever it is that you do. It's awesome. The zoom range is amazing. Now, although the zoom range is amazing, there are some drawbacks to this as well because it's not wide enough. Let's say when I'm doing vlogging and I want to do like a walkthrough of the Airbnb place that I'm staying at, for real estate work, you're gonna need something wider than this lens. This lens is good, but it's not gonna be as good as the 8-18. This 8-18 right here would be perfect for when I'm walking around the house, showing where I'm staying, so on and so forth. So yeah, on the wide end, it's good for when you're outdoor in open spaces, but when you're in tighter spaces like a room and so on and so forth, you're gonna need an 8-18. And then for the long end, there were some times when, for photography purposes, I couldn't get close enough to the birds. I would need to use this lens right here because I took it with me as well. But it was rare that I pulled out the 100 to 400 to get what I needed. It was like maybe 1 or 2 occasions. There was this bald eagle that was flying around at Crater Lake, and I was like zoomed in and I digital zoom and everything to get closer to see the bald eagle. And so I just couldn't get close enough. And then I decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go switch lens. And by the time I, went to get this lens and switch it and everything, the bald eagle just flew away already. So those are some drawbacks to the long end, and there's nothing wrong with this lens. It's just that sometimes, it's just so far away, you're gonna need another lens. So that's why this lens is pretty much 98% perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect lens, but it's almost perfect. And here is the kicker. The minimum focusing distance for this thing is insanely good. Now watch this. Look at that. Look at how close that is. Like that right there. That is insanely close. That's something I didn't know about. So it was just something, you read on specs and then you're like, But to really get that close, that is pretty amazing that this lens is able to do that. All right, so how good is this thing in low light situation? The answer is pros would be disappointed because pros demand a certain quality for image quality as well, and that's the next thing I was going to talk about. Might as well mesh them together because this on the long end is at 6.3. Like I said before, you're going to have to crank up that ISO, and on top of that, the image quality is very good, like very, very good. It is not gonna be as good as your pro lenses. But like I said, for vacation purposes, are you really gonna be wanting to lug around gigantic lenses like these to get the image quality that you want? Or are you just gonna be like, hey, you know what? I'm just out here to enjoy myself. I'm not working. I just wanna catch some images if I need to catch some images. This lens is pretty much the perfect all-around lens. It does wanna be macro, it's pretty good, right? Because somebody asked me, hey, can you do photos of flowers at the long end? So I did, and they wanted me to compare it with this lens right here, hold on. Okay, so I got it. So the 14 to 150 at the long end. And I'll tell you this, this is light and great and all, and it has a nice zoom range and everything, but hands down, I would spend my money on this one over this one. They are about $300 apart if you're buying it brand new, but if you're buying it used, this goes for around like $250. And I'm pretty sure that when people are done using this lens and they're trying to move up to more professional lenses like the Panasonic 100 to 400, they are going to drop this lens and sell it to buy that lens. So I personally am going to wait for someone to sell this lens on eBay, and I'm going to buy this lens used instead because it is a great lens and I would love it for traveling. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is the autofocus, because somebody asked me, hey, if you put the Olympus on a Panasonic body, because this is a Panasonic GH5, I got my OMD EM5 right there, Mark II, but look, listen, I'm gonna do the back button right here. Okay, that's yellow, this is like white and black right here, this is kind of like my computer screen with text on it, this is like my keyboard, this is like my mouse right here, and this is like random business cards. So this thing focuses very well. It's not as fast as if let's say panny to panny, but it is still fast. And if you're looking at the lighting situation in here, it is not the best lighting situation. It is good, but if I were to take this outside in full sun, not a problem. And right now I have this on single point autofocus. If you have it on area, that might slow down because there's like, contrast detect and all that stuff. And I'm not gonna get all geeky with it, but just know that the focus is good if you have good lighting. And if you're looking for blazing fast autofocus, yeah, definitely go with a panny to panny or Oly to Oly. And even then, like I said, some people might be in the worst lighting situation and complain that, oh, this autofocus is too slow. No, take it in the full sun and then test it, then you'll know if the autofocus is too slow. And that's it, guys. That's all I have to say. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments down below. And I have a couple of questions for you. Question number 1, do you own this lens and what is your experience with it? Leave it in the comments down below because other people can read through the comments and then get an understanding of if this lens is for them or not. And if you are interested in this lens, exactly why are you looking into this lens and what are you going to use it for? For me personally, pretty much everything for when I go vacationing. But if I were to do pro work, I would definitely use my 12-100 over this 12-200. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you find this useful. The one thing that I prefer is that, you don't have to give me a thumbs up, but if you enjoyed what you watched and you got something useful out of this, please leave a thank you in the comments down below. It helps me so much to stay motivated and keep creating content for you guys. So yeah, with that being said, I'm just gonna say goodbye. And you know how we say goodbye on this channel. If you're new, just follow along. But if you're old, you know how we're gonna do it. Here we go. Rock, paper, peace. Let's hang out again in the next video.